go live. You are live. It's not gonna work at the moment, I'm sure. Technology is always creating problems. I think so, or not. We'll see. If somebody sees or, I don't know, hears, please just drop me a comment. Is it live? I think it is. There you are. Cool. Thank you, Becky. I saw your comment even before, and I also replied because you're one of the first guys in Essen about 11 years ago when we were in a not even in a booth. It was in a workshop somewhere, and I just remember that time. So yeah, that's it. I see that's live, and welcome, brave explorers. So what's gonna be on our menu today? Let me see. Let's start with our with what we're gonna talk about. So the first thing is the future for Adreama Games, and well, this is gonna be very easy and very quick because I'm just gonna tell you that I'm creating new games, and it's been a little bit difficult because my muse, my graphic designer Alexandra, is working on her own projects because she's really into interior design. She's a little bit bored with board games, so she made a little bit of change in the career path. But worry not, we will have her magic soon. But first of all, I need to prepare everything, and then once all the tasks are done, then she's gonna do her magic. So don't worry about that. So hello to all the guys, to Chris, to Joey, to Andy. And yeah, I also need to apologize because I've been having some cough problems for quite some time, for a couple of weeks, and I just don't care. I know that you're gonna hear me mute the mic every now and then, like here. But I just want to share things. I just want to get the ball rolling because there's a lot of things ahead, and I don't have time to wait for perfect health, you know. So let's go. Let's go on the schedule, and for the Adreama Games, there are two main things in the pipeline. The first is with the Signal, and the second is with Machina Arcana, and I intentionally placed like fourth edition. It's some kind of a clickbaity outline because I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of pushback and questions like, what? Fourth edition? Now, once I have the third edition, everything is done and dusted and completed. Now you're going to go with the new fourth edition? But worry not. Everything will become much more clear afterwards. Crowdfunding project, and so this is something that I talked about later, much in the past, about Signal being the first crowdfunding project, but I think this is gonna change, and we will first have Machina Arcana 4th edition, and then we're gonna have the Signal. Yeah, and you said that there's gonna be an Iron Maiden concert, and what else? It's 4 a.m. in Melbourne. So thank you for being with us. So yeah, to get back to the crowdfunding project, I think we're gonna have the Machina Arcana, the first one. The biggest bottleneck at the moment is with the art for Signal, but as well with the models. And models for the miniatures were gonna be for both Machina Arcana and Signal, so the same package, so to speak. And the idea is once the Machina Arcana, the 4th edition, and all the expansions are going to be released at the same time, we will have a crowdfunding for Signal, and then we don't even need to wait for the miniatures for the Signal. We can immediately push with the crowdfunding project, and the time from the crowdfunding project to the delivery is gonna be literally in a matter of months. So this is really cool, especially for those that are not in our fans who are not really familiar with the whole Machina Arcana world. So they will have a new game, totally new experience, and a couple of months delivery time. I think that's going to be a really cool thing. Regarding the crowdfunding project, and we had Kickstarter before 3 times, but I think this is going to change. So this time I think we're gonna go with the GameFound, and there's a couple of things that I've researched regarding the GameFound and Kickstarter, and I know that Kickstarter is still really popular and everything, but I really like GameFound. Well, there's a couple of things, and I've seen a couple of comments in our page how people are more inclined to look on GameFound as the board game platform, and I totally agree with this. So, like, exclusively for board games, yeah, I'm not so sure if it's exclusively for board games, but it just things like BackerKit. BackerKit was great as an application, but if they have already implemented BackerKit in the platform, that will create a much smoother experience for everybody. So yeah, I also think that GameFound is a good choice, and I think we'll go with that route. So to close this up, I think almost like 90% we will go with GameFound, and Machina Arcana will be the first project. But immediately afterwards, after the delivery, it will automatically start with this Signal project, and the delivery time will be in a couple of months. Also, Machina Arcana, that 4th edition, so to speak, will be the only bottleneck will be just the models, and it's going to be much faster for me to push new content, create new content. But there are 88 models of Machina Arcana miniatures, and yeah. Also, I like just to talk about these things like that in some kind of a stream, because it's much faster to go through a lot of information, and I would like to have that maybe once per week, some kind of a update where I'll just give you all the bits and pieces. So I will not share a lot of stuff today. One example is the miniatures. I'm not going to show you these, although we have already a couple of them, 4 of them to be precise. So there's still time to show you all the goodies. So there's time for this. So yeah, let's go to the other what's next. So the next is the Signal sneak preview. That's interesting. That's cool. Give me a second. And one question: if I mute my mic once I cough, you don't hear the cough. I really hope you don't hear the cough. But okay. So for Signal sneak preview, how to show you? Well, I did create something, and Alexandra helped me with this. Some kind of I didn't even know that concept. Mihalis, my really good friend, from Mob Vanguard, my agent, licensing agent, and well, a lot of stuff. He's helping me with a lot of stuff, and he asked me to prepare some kind of a sell sheet for Signal. Really, miniatures? Do you think they're necessary? Very expensive for a small company. Lol, we heard the cough. Oh, really? So if I mute, so if I mute this, can you hear me now? You don't hear me now? No? Yes? Yes? No? So I hope you don't hear me. Can you hear? No? So the OBS is not really good then. Okay, so let's go with the. We do hear you. Oh, so how to speak is human, to cough is divine. Hearing just quieter. Let me see if I can. If I do this, can you hear me now? Now? No? No? No, Mick? I don't mind the coughing, really. So Becky, regarding the miniatures, be aware that there's not gonna be like a core game with miniatures. So the only way we're gonna have miniatures, only way, if there's gonna be a special box with just the miniatures. So the core game, even for the 4th and for the 11th edition, will just be the standees. But if somebody wants to just have the miniatures, they will have them. And the good thing about this is that if for the Signal game, you can use the same miniatures. So it's gonna be the same box. So in this way, we can kill 2 moths with 1 stone, so to speak. Okay, so for sneak preview for the Signal, so let me get back to that. And so Mihalis asked to prepare some kind of a sell sheet for publishers because he's going to Essenspiel in a month. And he would like to speak with the publishers about the Signal. So I wanted to prepare something for him. I did prepare something for him. Well, I did prepare some of the playing area, one playing area from Tabletop Simulator. And Alexandra then placed her magic in there. But be aware that I don't have a graphic designer on the game. I do have just one artist at the moment, Igor Krstic. He's working on the art for the comic, and everything else is just my, I wouldn't even say expertise. It's not expertise. It's my not knowledge about, because I'm using Paint and GIMP and all the things that are not professional. So you're not gonna see a very polished version of Signal. I just want to give you a sneak preview of what the Signal is about. And yeah, let me show you that sell sheet, and so it's there. So yeah, be aware that everything is gonna change. And if you remember the first versions of Machina Arcana, like even before the 1st edition, there were a number of iterations, and these iterations are really, really, really bad. I mean, really bad when you compare them to now, or even to the 2nd edition, the 1st edition. So be aware that there are things that are gonna be improved. In a way, everything. But let's go back to what the Signal is. So Signal is actually like a book, like a playable book. And the good thing about that is that it combines, so this is like the book, it combines 2 ways of playing. So it's an interactive comic book, but it's also a tactical game. A tactical game much, it's not like Machina Arcana tactical. I'll show you one of the map tiles. But it provides you with everything that you need to play inside the book. So there are no events, chapters, or anything else. So you can see that the stable presence is minimal, really minimal. And once you place your items on the table and monster deck, and that's it. You can have your character with some boards. This is the main board. Of course, tokens, dice, and effects. And once you place the book there, that's it. You automatically play the game immediately. Choose your own adventure approach by your... Yes, choose your own adventure. So how to give you a very quick idea what the game is about. So exactly. So it's a blend of RPG, of comic book, strategy, and storytelling in one book. And the thing is, you are gonna have branching narratives. You can choose something, and then it's not gonna be in, you know how in some games you have like a very it's not a real branching, because you in the end just coalesce back to one same choice. And like, it's not like the choices are cosmetic. Everything is gonna change, and even the map tiles and the dialogues and everything. So that book is gonna be quite big, and it's gonna be quite hard to create, because there's a lot of things that go into just one story. So this is what I've been building for a couple of years now, and it's going really nicely. And the manual is done in its draft form, the player rate, and I've completed like the guidebook. And what you see here is the guidebook that's actually a playable guidebook. So the idea is, you can even see here, like you have that icon here that tells you that it's a narrative mode, and then what you can expect about that, and but you'll see in time. And everything is about those skills, and there are like 9 skills, and you can upgrade them. You see how these 2 cards are in the lower part. So that means that they are unupgraded. They're in their default form. But you can level up. And then you place that card on the top. You can also level up with, of course, placing more skill tokens. And you can level up by upgrading the damage on those effects. But I'm not gonna go into mechanics right now. Just gonna give you a really quick overview what you can expect for it. It's still 1 to 4 players. There's no DM needed for this, and it's gonna be much faster to play. So it's literally like 2 hours max, totally max. In the end, it also depends on the book, because the book is everything. So you can have a really tactical book that's much longer. You can have a much faster story, just really story-wise book. So it really depends. And that versatility that's making it so complex to work with, because it's just a blank page, and what you do with this, it's your own freedom and your competency, and this takes time to produce something that I can really stand behind. So one really quick, just to show you, so I did Frankenstein from Mansions of Madness, the map tiles. I do like the isometric view, and I will go with this. This is just an example. Like, there is no tactical, like in Machina Arcana, grid, because there's no need for this kinds of line of sight. There's no obstacles, there's no line of sight. You just move and that's it. So everything is going to be much, well, like the small footprint to the table. Yes. So that's the whole idea. And one more thing, if you see here, there is no words on the cards. So everything is really big and really easy to see. You don't see really good here, but you see that there is like a might symbol minus, so you use one might to target a unit in melee, and that unit gets damaged to one physical. Okay, so that's the map tile view. It's not going to be Mansions of Madness, but for now, for the draft, for playing and learning, it's more than enough. Okay, so that's gonna be, I think it's gonna be fine for now for the Signal sneak preview. I will show you much more in detail later, later once I have the gameplay streams, and I would really like to have that, not just with Signal, but also with Machina Arcana to show you what I've done, how to improve the game. And speaking of which, we can go to the next point, and this is the 4th dreaded edition of Machina Arcana. Give me a second. And also let me take some drugs for the cough. Legal drugs. I'm live, of course. Regarding the 4th edition, I've heard the voice, and I hope that you will hear it as well.
And lo, thou shalt bring forth a new edition, and thy hand shall be guided to shorten the hours of play, to smooth the passage of the game, and to deliver it from the burden of repetition. Yet heed this command above all. Thou shalt not lay hand upon a single piece, save for the sacred scroll of instructions.
So the idea behind the 4th edition is with because of the so many really valuable comments that I received from people and throughout the years, and just let me show you your comments. So Roland, a small footprint box book, probably price, quick setup, not much reading, looks streamlined. Not a fan of horror theme again. I hoped you'd go for space this time. Well, Roland, one of the beautiful thing about, and finally about the Signal, is that it releases me from the clutches of Machina Arcana, because even though I'm gonna be inside the world, so to speak, but not in the Machina Arcana, and with Signal I have the freedom to go everywhere. So there's not gonna be Machina Arcana horror in the ICU or in the icy mountain. One book can be actually in space. One book can be 1,000 years in the past. And shall I tell you now about? No, but the thing is that it gives you freedom to explore different genres, different settings, different environments, while still being in that Machina Arcana world, but not in a really fixed way, because yeah, sure, you will have monsters and explorers, but these things can be used in a different way, because yeah, I'm not gonna go into detail, but because it's connected to the lore about what explorers are. And in the first guidebook of Signal, you will have the lore explaining what actually are explorers, how are you using them, who are you, and once you understand who you are, the context of units, then you will see how you can definitely have a Hank Horden like a bruiser in an SF setting. It still works. but more on that later. So last week I thought to buy a third edition, but then I saw this fourth edition announcement. Now I'm even more curious. Well, also the thing is, as you've seen in this biblical quote, that everybody who already has a third or a second edition can play the fourth edition, because the only difference is going to be with the manual. And that's like a big constraint that I've placed. If I can create a better game with just updating the rules, then sure. If even one component, slight component, is going to be changed and there's going to be a need for an update pack, no, that fourth edition goes out of the window. So you can actually even have the third edition even now, because you can learn and the knowledge is going to be very easily transferred to the fourth edition. Don't worry about that. But but it's fine. Okay. So where I was last week, I thought if signaling is for narrative gaming, what Machina Arcana is for crawlers, I'm already hyped. Yes, Becky, and also it's not just narrative gaming, and there's still gonna be tactical things involved, and not just tactical things, but even mini games. Second, let me do something with my nose. I hope you're not gonna see this. Where is my, is this it? Okay, we're back. So yeah, mini games. This is totally doable in Signal, and I'll explain with the gameplay streams. But the mechanics that's already been done gives you freedom to create a book that's a pure choose your own adventure, maybe another that's a pure tactical, maybe another that's a pure mini games, so to speak. And so a lot of freedom, but with this freedom comes responsibility. And if you don't deliver professionally made product, thing of like a gaming experience, then you'll fail. So yeah, there's a lot of burden, a lot of responsibility from using the existing mechanisms and system into works of art. That's why even a year or 2 years before, I spoke about how hard it is to create that, because it's a really interdisciplinary play between the writers and the level designers, and well, a lot of people, artists, everyone who is involved in that needs to be their top level in order to create a top level game. So yeah, okay, good to know. So I can get the third edition without worries. I'm a proud owner of all 3 editions and don't regret it at all, Yar. Cool, thank you for this. Where was I about the 4th edition? And hopefully, not hopefully, so I've already played the 4th edition, so I already created. And the main focus of the 4th edition is to streamline the play, because I do like from the 1st edition that roll and spawn, roll and horror event, and it's cool, it's great. I did try to address some of the shortcomings with To Eternity chapters, and this is another thing that I just don't think a lot of people actually played To Eternity chapters, because you know, a lot of people complain about really good complaints about the repetitive play, a long play and everything, and the To Eternity chapters are actually done to address exactly these things. So I'm not sure how many people have played To Eternity. That's going to be a pool for some other time. But still, we still have the core game, the three scenarios, and the From Beyond two scenarios that are still using that old old mode of play. And if I want to bring her to a much broader audience, I think I can't just say, well, these shortcomings have been solved to eternity. I need to really solve for people who are just starting to play the game. Will the fourth edition escalate faster? Currently, the engine usually can't keep up with the players. The thing is, yes, the difficulty, it's going to be much, much faster to win or to lose. Before, there were times where you could finish the game with just level 2, maybe monsters. Sometimes, if you're really, really turbo mode, even level 1. And it's not going to be like that in the fourth edition, because I'm not going to give you how I've done this. I'm going to show you in the future stream. We're just going to play. And let me just see if this could work. I like to play with Tabletop Simulator, and you're just gonna see here. I'm gonna go and start, and we're just gonna play the game. Sorry guys, I'm dying here. But yeah, you can expect playing with the fourth edition maybe even next week, just to show you. And there are two things that I've done to make the game much faster, and the difficulty to be much faster is, and with just a couple of things, and the main with the spawn phase. I changed how spawn phase works, because very often people could be stranded in a loop. Like they can't even reach a chapter space, that they go through a couple of movements, and maybe they try and they kill a monster, but then the next round in just another spawn and another, and it just drags. So this is gonna be, and in a very subtle way, this is gonna improve how you will progress through the chapters. And this is a crucial thing, if you don't do anything by a specific amount of rounds, the chapter, if it's not blocking, will automatically switch to the next chapter. But more on that later on the gameplay streams. Is this it? I think yeah, Andy, I'd love to hear more feedback on To Eternity. I think it's an interesting evolution, and to see a core box audience give feedback would really help in terms of long-term mass evaluation. And if you don't know, Andy is not just a friend, a big friend of mine. He's a writer of not just To Eternity, but for all the stories in the Codex Eternum. And yeah. And I would also like to hear more feedback on To Eternity, and because it deals with a lot of problems, but still it doesn't completely resolve some of the problems, and it changes the game, because in To Eternity chapters, the chapters are really connected to the gameplay. Before, you could have, and for most of the chapters are just placeholders. In the core game, chapters are mostly just for ratings, for two numbers, horror and spawn, and that's it. But in To Eternity, chapters are really connected to what's going on. And yeah, I would also like to hear about that. But it's my bias, I would say, that people didn't even get to the To Eternity chapters, and they are just stuck because they need to go through core game and then from beyond, and maybe they don't have time, or I don't know, and they just don't experience the latest expansion. My last game, I did get in a chain of spawns, but it ended up with me going Space Marine style and mowing them down turn after turn. It was a lot of fun. Okay, just to get this right, Machina Arcana 4th is coming, and the game is a new edition with new rules. Well, new edition. I would say it's the same edition with new rules. And by saying new rules, I'm not talking about I'm reworking the whole game. No, it's just gonna be a couple of differences how currently how it works with just spawn phase, spawn maybe horror phase, but that's it. So the same component, the same edition with just an updated manual. And do you need a whole new game, or is it possible via update pack? So it's just the manual, and the manual is going to be free. And not just that, there's going to be just one page for existing Machina Arcana backers. How, if you already know how to play the game, how to work with the 4th edition rules. So it's going to be really trivial. If I didn't finish 3rd, will it make sense to continue playing the 3rd if there's going to be a 4th? Well, yeah, of course, you can just play the 3rd, because in the 4th edition, besides the updated manual for the core game, there will also be one expansion. I need to give a couple of new content as well, and I will talk about that in the future stream, because there's a problem with the box, because the box is so tight that I don't think it's even possible to place a couple of scenarios, maybe, but not in the same well that the existing scenarios are. So yeah, that's gonna be a tricky thing to solve, because sure, we can have an expansion box, but I really want that the main box holds everything together. So I'm sure that we'll think of something to resolve this challenge. Okay, if I understand that right, there is a new crowdfunding for Me A4, right? Are there only miniatures there, or even new content? Yeah, so miniatures, new content, and a reprint, because we are totally out of print even a year or 2 years ago. So yeah, there'll definitely be a reprint, and that reprint is a 3rd edition with the updated manual, and that's it. Yeah, the 4th edition might confuse or alienate people. What about Machina Arcana 3rd edition? Super tentacle action version. Yeah, that makes sense, and I agree that people, when they see a 4th edition, they immediately are what? So I know that it might alienate people, but that's not the case, especially for older backers, because as I'm telling you again, it's just gonna be one page of, if you already know how to play the game, how to use the existing components, the existing knowledge, how to make the game better, so to speak. And when you say better, it's also it's questionable, because I'm sure that somebody will like how the even the 1st edition works, and there are people who even prefer the 1st edition. Speaking of which, let me show you something. So yeah, this, if you remember, this is the first items that I worked on the Machina Arcana. So even before the 1st edition, so it's more than 11 years ago. And let me show you maybe some of the art. And this art, somebody can say that, oh, this is what I want, this is what I want to see, and but I think for my personal taste, I like the improved version much better. So you are always going to alienate some people, and I'm sure that even with the updated rules, with much more streamlined, faster game, some people will say, but look, I use Machina Arcana for a really special weekends when I take 5 hours and I read through everything. I really take my time. So if you want to make it faster, that's not going to work for me. So I am aware of this. But I also think that it's better to look forward, to try to improve if there is something to improve upon, not just for improvement's sake. So yes, I think this is a good way to go. So yes, we will talk about in the next stream about how to call it. Is it the 4th edition if I'm not changing any components besides the manual, or is it something else? The new edition should be worth it for the old fans like us, and for that we need new content to play through. Exactly. And that new content will be also in a special box, and that content is gonna be connected to the signal in a way. So the story arc will be, this is gonna be that expansion for the 4th edition will link in a way the story, the lore from Machina Arcana to Signal. 3.1. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so I think we are done with everything that I have planned to speak about. And besides the expansion, the new content, there are also 2 things that I would really like to work upon for Machina Arcana. But I'll speak more in detail about that hopefully next week, and when I'm feeling much better. And yes, so sorry about all the coughing. And these are 2 modes that I would like to incorporate. And the first mode is a puppeteer mode for Machina Arcana, and this will create an asymmetrical RPG kind of way where one player will control, but not just the monsters. There's gonna be he's gonna be he's gonna have a presence on the board. He's gonna have its own board, its own card, and it's gonna be a really interesting game. So all the existing scenarios, you can just play them, but you can improve that gaming experience with that puppeteer mode where one of you is gonna be from the start trying to hinder, try to kill you in a way. And for the second one, I really like a deathmatch mode for Machina Arcana, like some kind of arena, 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2. So this is something that I've already worked on. I just need more time to put everything together, and because some people like PvP, and in a way this will create a much not faster experience but a different experience. So there's no story, you just place some map tiles and you just go at each other. So this is also something that I would like to finally not just work on, just to see it in light, see it being published. But we'll see, one step at a time. Oh yeah, Roland, it was great to connect here, hear your voice. Yeah, I'm gonna be better soon. And thank you for all the support, for being here all these years. And I'm absolutely certain that you're gonna like what's in store for Adreama Games in general, for Signal and for Machina Arcana. So thank you once more, and I'll give all the updates to the Facebook page about when you can expect new enticing information. So that's it. Goodbye, brave explorers.